My name is Daniel Carter, and until the afternoon my aunt revealed her secret to my wife, I believed our family history was perfectly ordinary. Not dramatic, not hidden behind locked doors or whispered stories, just simple and steady, like the small Ohio town where I grew up. My wife, Emily, and I had been married 5 years. We lived in a cozy 2-bedroom house with white shutters, a tiny garden filled with sunflowers, and a porch swing that creaked gently every time the wind passed through the trees. Life was stable and calm, maybe even predictable, but peaceful. Emily worked as an elementary school art teacher, and I ran a small home renovation business. We hoped to have children someday, but for now, we were enjoying the rhythm of quiet evenings and weekend breakfasts at our favorite corner cafe. Every summer, we held a small family gathering at my aunt's farmhouse. Aunt Margaret was my father's older sister, a woman with gentle gray eyes, neat silver hair, and a way of speaking that made every sentence sound thoughtful. She never married and lived alone on the land she'd inherited from our grandparents. The farmhouse was the heart of our family. It had seen birthdays, reunions, holiday meals, and countless late-night talks over coffee. Emily adored Aunt Margaret. She often said Margaret reminded her of the kind grandmother from storybooks, the kind who always knew how to listen without interrupting. That summer afternoon seemed no different. We drove up the gravel road, dust trailing behind our car. We brought fresh lemonade, and Emily had baked her favorite blueberry pie. Margaret welcomed us with her usual warm smile and pulled us into gentle hugs. After lunch, I went outside to check on a fence Margaret wanted repaired. Emily stayed at the kitchen table to help clean up. I was only gone about 20 minutes. When I returned, I noticed the atmosphere felt different, quiet in a way that didn't match the usual relaxed mood. Margaret was standing by the sink, her back rigid. Emily sat at the table with her hands folded tightly together, staring down at the wood grain. "I'll give you two some time," Margaret said softly as she passed me, brushing my shoulder before heading outside. I turned to Emily, feeling a strange knot begin forming in my chest. Everything okay?" She looked up at me. Her eyes were glossy, not crying, but close to it. "Daniel, your aunt told me something important." Those words landed heavier than they should have. "What kind of something?" Emily stood and walked to me slowly. "She told me about your mother." I stiffened. My mother had died when I was only 9. I knew few details. My father had always said her heart condition was sudden and unavoidable. There had never been much more discussion after that. "What about my mom?" I asked. Emily hesitated before continuing. "Margaret said the illness was only part of the story." I sat down. Margaret, it turned out, had been carrying this secret for more than 2 decades. She hadn't known when, or even if, she should share it. But after seeing how deeply Emily cared for our family, she believed the truth finally deserved to be spoken. What Emily learned changed how I viewed my entire childhood. My mother hadn't been ill for years like I believed. Her condition had been diagnosed very late, after months of unexplained exhaustion and headaches that were brushed off as stress. She had gone to see specialists alone because she didn't want to worry our family, or burden my father, who was struggling financially back then. By the time doctors discovered how serious her condition truly was, treatment options were few. She'd chosen to spend her remaining time quietly, cherishing her family without drawing attention to her pain. Margaret knew the truth. She had promised my mother that she wouldn't tell anyone, not while she was alive, and not afterward, believing she was honoring her sister's wish for privacy. But Margaret admitted, years later, that the secrecy had caused unintended harm. My father blamed himself for not noticing symptoms sooner. I grew up believing death arrives without warning and without explanation, a fear that shaped how I approached relationships, loss, and even love. Emily reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "She wanted you to know now," Emily said. "Not to cause pain, but to bring peace." That evening, Margaret joined us again on the porch. The sun dipped low as light painted the fields gold. "I never meant to hurt you, Daniel," she said, her voice trembling. "Your mother was brave. I thought protecting her privacy meant protecting you. But secrets don't always protect, they sometimes confuse." I didn't feel anger. I felt understanding. Everything I'd ever wondered suddenly made sense. The strong but gentle way my mother always smiled, the quiet determination in her voice, the way she never complained no matter how tired she seemed. "She was protecting us," I said quietly. Margaret nodded. "And now," Emily added softly, "you finally get to know how much she loved you." In the car on the way home, Emily rested her head against my shoulder. "I think your aunt trusted me because she knew you'd need someone sitting beside you when you learned the truth," she said. That night, I pulled out the old photo albums I hadn't opened since childhood. Instead of sadness, I saw a story of quiet courage, and a mother who had chosen grace over fear. In the weeks that followed, something shifted in me. I stopped rushing through life. I became more patient, more open. I spoke more freely about my feelings, no longer afraid of vulnerability or sudden loss. Emily noticed the change first. "You're lighter," she said one evening as we watered the garden together. "I guess I finally let go of something I didn't know I was carrying," I replied. Aunt Margaret called more frequently after that. She sounded happier, as if releasing her secret had lifted a weight from her shoulders too. One autumn afternoon, Emily suggested something simple but meaningful. "Let's plant a tree for your mom." So we did, a small cherry blossom tree right beside the sunflowers. As we placed soil around its roots, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: connection, not only to my past, but to my future as well. Turning to Emily, I said, "Thank you for listening when it mattered." She smiled. "That's what partners do." I realized the secret itself wasn't what changed everything, it was the truth it revealed, that love doesn't end with loss, and honesty can heal wounds even after decades of silence. Sometimes what transforms our lives isn't the revelation itself, but how we choose to face it together.